Hey y'all, what up? Welcome back.
What's up, y'all?
To another episode of the We Outside Afterwork podcast.
We outside.
I am Dana.
And I'm Aaron. Good morning.
Good
Afternoon.
morning,
good evening.
afternoon, whatever time you listen to this. All right, so today, guys, we want to first start off with how was your week, Aaron?
You know, I actually went to the doctor this week.
What kind of doctor?
Like I guess not a pediatrician because I'm grown, right?
A physician?
Yeah, like a physician. Because I finally got my insurance cards, and I'm like, you know what? I'm off. Let me go to the doctor. I had a clogged ear. Dana told me, I got to figure that shit out.
The reason why I said that was because when I was in middle school and I had that issue where I just couldn't hear in my left ear, and then they took a syringe full of water without the needle point, of course, and then just shot that pressure in my ear, and it was literally just like fucking hard earwax falling out.
And the crazy part is I had vertigo, so the doctor was like, "You sure you're gonna get a little dizzy?" So
it's funny you mentioned that. My grandma just had that the other day.
Yeah, like
wow.
I had like fainted a couple years back, but it wasn't on no like passed out shit. It's just like you get dizzy and you just fall.
You get lightheaded.
Yeah, so I gotta control my eagerness sometimes.
How
when
do
I'm
you
at
get
work.
vertigo?
I don't know. It's like an equilibrium thing. So for those who don't know, I did track and field in college. I actually believe that I suffered a bunch of concussions, right? Because I high jumped. So when you high jump, you jumping 7-8 feet in the air and you falling straight back to the back of your head. They say if you see stars, you technically had a concussion. Every single time I would just boom, hit my head, boom, hit my head, boom, hit my head.
That's crazy. So you went to the doctor, and what did the doctor say?
The doctor, he didn't say nothing. He said I was actually really healthy. He said everything was all good to go. So, I'm all good.
Okay.
Cholesterol, great. Blood pressure, great.
That's good. It's important to go to the doctor. I actually recently went to the doctor to do a physical, and my doctor did say that I'm in the overweight. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense because I literally work out like 3 times a week, and I notice I'm building more muscle. So it's not necessarily fat that I gained. I feel like it's muscle. But when you go to the doctor, like they don't tell you your BMI and your body fat index or whatever. So I'm like, it has to be the muscle and the protein that I've been taking. So I asked someone recently if I look overweight, and they was like, not really, but your face looks bigger. And I was like, all right, fuck you too then. But
I don't think her face looks big. I think she looks like Dana. This is the Dana that I've always known.
Because you see me all the time.
But damn, bro.
I know, crazy. So, all right,
wait. Before.
Oh.
How was your week? I didn't ask you.
Yeah, you never ask me. I just.
Because you be going.
You be going. I do.
Let her cook, though. Let her cook. Go ahead, cook.
So my week was good. So this week on what I'm stressing about, I have to take my real estate exam for my class before I can get approved to take the state exam.
I seen the question on your Instagram.
You seen it, right?
I seen it.
Yeah.
Good.
So guys, if you are in the process of buying a house and you're working with a realtor, if there was a crime or any type of murder or something that happened in that house, your real estate agent is not obligated to tell you that. Like they just tell you about like structural damage and stuff like that, but any type of things that have happened in that house, like they do not tell you. So that I just wanted to mention this a little bit because I just finished watching the series called The Watcher. Have you heard of it?
For whatever reason, everything Dana watches on Netflix, I just don't see.
You never watch Netflix. But I be up on the shows, that's why.
You be up on it.
But this show is about a family who move into a beautiful house in Westville, New Jersey. Like they bought the house back in 2014 and come to find out that in the 90s, someone murdered his whole family in this house. So it's a little different from the real life story because in the real life story, the family never actually moved into the house because they started getting letters from a random person saying that they're basically watching their kids and watching their every move in the house. But in the show, the family ends up moving into the house and then they start receiving all these crazy letters. And It's a good ass series, but the ending sucked to me just because it truly didn't really make sense, and I don't want to ruin the show for anyone who has not watched it.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
I highly recommend watching it if you have not. It's more of like thriller, suspense, and along those lines.
It's crazy because one of my old managers actually lives in Tuckerton, New Jersey. And it's this famous house.
Where the hell is that?
It's South Jersey.
Oh.
So it's this famous house where it was like this big drug dealer. And they like killed everybody in the house and left cocaine and kilos and shit like that upstairs or something.
Shit.
Something, this crazy story.
Did he find the drugs?
Nobody found none of the money or nothing. And like it was like a lady who ditched and was gone and nobody ever found her. Like,
wow.
But she knew because she bought the house next door.
Okay.
So
did she find out after she bought the house, or she already knew that?
I didn't ask that deep. I should have, but I kind of wanted to sneak into the house, to see if I could find something.
Yeah.
You never know. Like I ain't no drug dealer. I ain't trying to get on no RICO charges. Free Sue Surf. But
yeah,
shit crazy. But yeah.
Okay, that wasn't even a topic that we were gonna discuss today. But it's on brand with it being October and Halloween coming up and all of that. So, all right, let's segue into our first topic. So, because we are doing this podcast together and it is more so a job, like we have to be consistent, we have to show up on time, and we're financially paying for this. My question is, have you ever worked with a friend? And would you ever work with a friend or like start a business with a friend? Why or why not?
So, I worked with my brother's girlfriend. She actually got me fired, which is the worst part about it.
Okay, so you would not work with a friend.
Depends. Because with that situation, it's like you get so protective of each other. Like, oh, if you do something wrong, I'll cover for you. If I do something wrong, you'll cover for me. But in this situation, she abandoned ship.
What job did y'all work at?
When I was managing a storage company.
Okay.
So she was my assistant. And the craziest part about it was she had worked a couple jobs. She just needed some rest this day. For whatever reason, she decided she was going to sleep in a car. I didn't care.
But you were her boss, though, at this job?
Yeah.
Okay.
The business was slow. Wasn't too much going on. It was sit in the office all day. So it just so happened that snitch ass nigga decided he was going to drive through the neighborhood because he was like the district leader of the other store managers. He was going to drive in the neighborhood and just so happened to see her in a car. And I was touring with another family. So my district manager ends up calling me. He's like, hey, can I speak to so-and-so? I'm like, oh, she's with somebody right now.
It was her he wanted to talk to.
She's with somebody right now. She'll get back to you. So by the time she woke up, she had came back. And then I told her, I'm like, yeah, make sure you call him, just blah, blah, blah. So then both of them came to the office one day, and they was on some shit like, you knew she wasn't here. Why did you stick up for her? Blah, 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 blah.
So then you ended up losing your job.
I ended up losing my job based on I was literally the most perfect employee in this company's history. Like, I got promoted within 6 months. I turned 80% capacity rate to a 96. Like, I was killing it.
So you was a big asset to this company.
I was to the point where I was going to ascend to the role of the district leader. Little black man get one little issue, and all of a sudden I can't trust you. I don't know if you would do this again.
Yeah,
I don't see you the same.
And we're literally being like looked at with a microscope at work. So I'll tell you. My situation when working with one of my friends a couple years ago, this was probably like, I would say 2015. I was still in college looking for a summer job or an internship. And just like the last podcast episode where we talked about the pyramid scheme jobs, like this was around the time when I worked at that.
You worked at a pyramid scheme with a friend?
No. So this was after the pyramid scheme job.
I'm playing. Go ahead.
So I got my degree in business marketing, right? So my initial plan was always to do advertising for cosmetics companies. Like that was always my goal. Now I work in tech. So yeah.
We both have marketing degrees and neither one of us.
Well, we use them now for our personal endeavors.
Yeah, to some degree.
With social media.
We want the bag with the marketing.
Yes.
God damn it.
Okay. But listen, so this particular job, I was in intern, and it was paid. So the reason why I never actually got an internship for cosmetics companies was because a lot of these internships were unpaid. And at this time when I went to college, like I had a car note, I had insurance, I had to buy my own hair because my dad used to pay for everything. But once I went to college, like he had to pay for school and books and stuff. So he was like, any extra stuff, you need to get a job.
Yeah, I had to pay for child support with my internship, so I know exactly where you come from.
Okay, so you had to get something that was paying money. So for this particular job, I thought it would make sense for marketing. It was for a sportswear uniform small business in Edison. And the family, they would create uniforms for local, just like, I guess it was for schools and stuff like that. Any type of sports, they created their uniforms for the kids. So my job was to reach out to the schools and coaches and see if they needed uniforms and like tell them the pricing and stuff. And I did this job with Anna. So I told her I was doing this, and she was into marketing at the time too, because when we were in high school, we both took this marketing elective. So she more so just wanted to do it to get experience. Like she wasn't getting paid what I was getting paid. So at work, I feel like we were doing a lot of the taking pictures of the production and how uniforms were being made and stuff like that. And then there was another intern. It was this Indian boy. And the reason why I bring that up is because the small business was owned by an Indian family.
And it was in Edison, too.
So there were times where, like, our boss would come out to where we were all working, because it was the three of us. We had laptops. We had all our shit. We were basically just, like, making calls and stuff. So they would always take him to the side and tell him, like, whatever. And then he would come back, and he didn't really, like, talk to us much. So we would have to say, like, yo, what did he say to you? Like, what are we...
Did they speak in a different language or...
No, they spoke English. But because I guess he was Indian, like, they felt more comfortable talking to him. So it was a little strange. But we ended up... Well, Anna got fired. And then I got fired the next day.
How you get fired from an internship?
Listen.
What y'all just wasn't doing it?
No. So we were coming to work every day. I was working, and I thought I was working hard too. Like I was also running their Facebook account and stuff. So I was putting out posts and just doing everything that I was supposed to do. So one day the boss comes over to Anna and asks her, like, what exactly do you do every day? And she told him everything that I just said, how we reach out to coaches and tell them the pricing and get their information. And he was like, I don't ever see you doing any of that. So then she actually was working, though. So it was kind of strange that he came up and said that to her. And the thing with her at the time was she was a little bit of a firecracker. So when he said that like triggered her to just like go off on him, basically. And then she just slammed out and just left. And
that's how it be when you like through.
Yeah.
Like I worked at Quiznos for a whole 4 days. And I wasn't polite, so I'm not going to act like I was the most politically correct person in this situation. But my grandparents had actually just got into a car accident. They were driving on the parkway, and it was snowing, and my grandfather slid into like the median. So I was in an emotional state. So I called out. But I called out because it was owned by an Indian family, mother, husband, and a wife. So I called out to the wife. So I come back in the next day, and he was like, where were you yesterday? I was like, oh, my apologies. I called out.
Did you tell him your grandfather was in an accident?
Yeah, but I said, I called out to your wife yesterday, and this is the situation. Oh, that had no reason. You should have still been here. And I was already tight because when I worked at Quiznos, all they would make me do is cut the onions and the tomatoes and stir the tuna fish.
So it wasn't like a job where you needed.
I was already angry. I didn't want to be there, and I got racist, and it just wasn't polite. I apologize now because clearly I was just angry. Like the whole situation had me super emotional, but I was already sick of them. So it's like when you get people at a workspace where you push them to the fucking limit. Like, that's why you as a boss, you got to be a little bit more mindful of the people that you work with.
Because, like, these jobs are not our lives. And I always say this to myself. I'm like, I don't live to work. I work to live.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just finish my point of when I got fired the next day from the job. So I ended up getting fired because they came up to me with that same energy, just
Mm-hmm.
asking me what I do, and I was showing them like all of the coaches and schools that I reached out to. And they was on some like, okay, well, we don't need you anymore, just out of the blue. And I think because I was Anna's friend, it was more so like, well, why would we keep her here if, you know, like we fired her friend?
Mm-hmm.
So she probably is like not really the best with the work ethic either.
Was it contracted or was it just like?
It was, I don't think it was contracted. It was more so just a summer internship.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was something to put on my resume, which I think I still have on there.
Please don't call this number.
Don't call this job because they're going to end up saying like, yeah, no, she was fired. But yeah, let's segue into now, being that we're grown. Would you, I wouldn't say work with your friend, would you start a business with a friend?
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said before, this is a podcast that we started together.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to answer this with saying, I think it depends on the friend. Like, it depends if your friend is reliable, responsible, if you know they make, like, everyone's not perfect, but it just depends on their choices that they make and how that affects them and their lives and stuff like that. Like, you have to put all of those into perspective, and it can't just be based on the friendship.
It also gives you that opportunity that you might lose a friend. So don't start a business with somebody that you aren't afraid to lose, because anything can go wrong. Anything can happen. You get angry. Like, I'll use us as an example, right? I don't want to argue with you because I care about you too much as a friend, right? You know what? Let's find a warmer way for us to do this,
Right.
because the last thing I want us to do is be like, fuck it, fuck you. I don't ever want to talk to you because this shit done fell off. And
Right.
it's like, obviously this is something we're passionate about, but I'm more passionate about you as a human. So I don't want to lose that. So I try to stay away from friendly endeavors, because you will fuck around and lose somebody. Because money, it's not just money, but
Money is the root of all evil.
money
to be
will
honest.
fuck shit up.
And with our situation, I think it is important to communicate, because we had maybe like 2 or 3 conversations and meetups prior to us actually recording a podcast episode and being like, okay, this is a studio that we are going to be recording in. Like, we've talked about different scenarios. And one thing that I took away from the conversation was we're going to always have fun. Like, when this stops being fun, then there's no point to just keep doing this. Like, maybe we'll build up a fan base at some point, but if we truly are just doing this because it's like, okay, this is a job, to me, it's like, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know?
So my brother actually started a business, and him and my aunt essentially got into it together. And then he kind of like hired the homies that we all grew up with.
Oh, the neighborhood friends?
Yeah. And it's like,
I heard that never ends well.
it's like, we good at the beginning, but then once shit start, I need more money for this, or I need investments in this. I need you to pick up your slack. And it's like holding each other accountable is hard because you my mans.
Yeah, it's like it's just a different light and a different dynamic when it comes to the friendship, because it's fun in games when you guys like can go hang out and it's not too serious. But once you involve business, it's like, okay, you can't be like fucking around and just playing games, because this is our livelihood now.
And the hard part isn't just the business, it's the struggle. Because when shit going good, yeah, we straight, we good, the money's flowing. Everybody's happy when the money's flowing. But when that money stop,
Yeah.
what's up?
Right.
And we in the podcast space. So I listen to different people podcasting. So I Am Athlete, one of my favorite podcasts. Have you heard of them? Like,
No.
So it was one of these real popular sports podcasts, and they end up breaking
If
up.
it has to do with sports, I don't listen to it.
Oh, yeah. You know, you're a future athlete. I got you. You're going to get you on a flag
I
football.
could have been. I really could have been a dope ass athlete,
Right.
and I low key regret it. I'm not gonna lie, because when I was in high school, I literally had all the coaches asking me like, "Come try out for the basketball team," because I am 5'9", 5'10", depending on
She's
the day.
trash. That's why.
But
She
I'm
can't shoot.
I'm like naturally good at things that are competitive. So if I applied that when I was younger, I could have really been a fucking superstar.
Because you really kicked my ass when we was at fucking
Oh, Dave and Buster's.
Nah, it was the other one. What's the
I
shit?
Play America?
Yeah, I play. Yo, she was kicking my ass. Everything. But
and I'm a great like driver when it comes to like those driving games. Yo, I could be a NASCAR racer.
She ain't. Nah, I'm messing with you. But on this podcast, it was basically like, yo, the people who jumped onto the podcast with him, they felt like they were entitled to the same kind of money that's coming in because collectively we're the podcast. Meanwhile,
so everyone's equal.
Yeah, that's how they felt. But if I'm the person spearheading this, orchestrating this, putting my money into this, doing the overhead, doing all the behind the scenes stuff, hiring this person, scheduling this, doing that, it's like it's not equal. And it's like,
but it has to be equal. Like, why is there just one person doing that if everyone is on that podcast every week? Like, that's crazy.
Some people also have passions for that, right? So I think the guy, his name is Brandon Marshall. I think his passion was to be that orchestrator, to be that business runner.
So he would provide the financial stuff and like
all they got to do is
planning,
show up and talk.
They just gotta, I guess, it couldn't be me because with us. It makes sense to have things equal so that not one person feels like they're more in charge than the other. Because I feel like that can go left real quick. But on the flip side of that, the great thing about doing business with family and friends is you are working with people that you can trust. Not always, because there are times when your family fucks you over. But if you're starting a business with family, I think you would just make sure that these people are people that you can't trust, but it just depends. Yeah, you've known them for years, but again, it just depends.
Yeah, I know if me and my cousin Justin, I talk about him every podcast. He got to get his plug in.
Does he have a podcast?
No, he doesn't have a podcast. He works for the ports. So if I ever needed somebody that I knew for a fact I can trust with X, Y, and Z. I'm throwing it his way first.
Okay.
Because I know for a fact that he not going to fuck it up. He might not be the best at it. But I think sometimes you try to get the best for shit, but sometimes you just need adequate. Like, I can handle being the best. I just need somebody that's going to keep me afloat. And he won't let me drop him or my bro Reggie. Like, those are the two most trusted people in this world for me. He's good. He just moved to Ohio.
Did he? Yeah, because I have him on Facebook, and like he's always posting. He has a son now, right?
His son is like 12. Nah, he's like 4.
Oh, I was like, damn. I didn't even know that. All right. So let's change gears. And since we are on the topic of jobs and working with friends, for you, Aaron, we talked a little bit about this before we started the podcast. And if you guys watch the show P-Valley, there is a character called Lil Murda, and come to find out that he is actually not gay in real life, and he just plays a gay man because he's Uncle Clifford's boy toy, or like he's a rapper on the show, and he doesn't want to be seen as like a gay guy, but on the low he's like messing with Uncle Clifford. So my question to you is there a job that you feel like your significant other should not do because you would feel uncomfortable? And if so, what is that job?
What I've come to realize is the most important thing for my comfort is time spent. So I've dated girls that are in the industry, if you get my gist.
What does that mean, in the industry? What kind of industry?
She was a go-go dancer.
A stripper?
She was a go-go dancer because they keep clothes on.
There's a difference.
It is a difference. Okay. Because in certain places, if you sell alcohol, you can't be naked. So, but
I've only went to the strip club one time. I went to King of Diamonds in Miami.
It's not that fun.
And it's not. And I honestly, that's never been on my bucket list to go to the strip club. But my friends were like, "Let's go!" Like, and
I've never been a fan of window shopping.
When I went, like, I guess it was a day that the strippers weren't really like doing too much because they were naked, but they were literally just walking around giving out their Instagram pages and taking pictures with us and tagging us, but they had like about 1 million followers because it was King of Diamonds. But sorry,
easy money.
Not to.
Nah, it's cool. But for me, I'm not opposed. Just make sure you keep it under wraps. You know, you keep it clean, keep it safe.
So you wouldn't date a go-go dancer? Or you wouldn't want your
I wouldn't mind.
partner to be a go-go dancer?
I wouldn't mind.
Oh, you wouldn't mind?
It wouldn't bother me.
Okay.
I'm very secure in me.
But the question is, like, what is a job that you would you just don't care?
Yeah, as long as you got time for me and mine, do what you gotta do. Bring the bread home. Don't compromise yourself. Like, if you don't want to do this, don't do this. So to the go-go dancer, she was going through some things. Her mom was sick and everything, so she was just trying to do what she had to do.
She had to make money for her mom.
But then she got into like selling insurance and all this kind of stuff, and it wasn't going the way she wanted to. So she was like, "I'm gonna go back and do it." Nah, if you don't want to do it, don't do it.
Right.
But
sometimes people don't have a choice, because if it is with you taking care of your mom and paying her medical bills, and you get that kind of money being a go-go dancer, then unfortunately you may not want to do that, but you have to for the sake of your family.
Yeah, I got prepositioned once, I was in Atlantic City and a guy handed me the business card. I considered it like, we'll see what's up. But
why didn't you?
The questions that he was asking was a little awkward. So I felt uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to tell no grown ass man these answers. Okay. So, but what about you?
Okay, so because I am single and I don't have a significant other, but I would say there are a few jobs that I just know I would not want to date these particular men.
Oh, like the truck driver. And,
how you know?
Because Instagram tells us everything.
But it's not only truck driver. Number one, I would say a trainer.
Oh, yeah.
I've had a trainer, because I don't go to like the public gyms anymore. Like I go to my complex gym, but I used to go to LA Fitness a couple years ago, and I did the training sessions probably about 2 or 3 times. And the trainers, I feel like they be flirting with women in the gym. Like and maybe they don't do it on purpose, but it's just a little too much for me. So I couldn't imagine that being my boyfriend and he's at work flirting with these women that he's supposed to be training. I guess it is meant for motivational purposes, but it was just a little too much.
Give me an example of what these trainers might say that would make you think that he's flirting with them.
It's a lot, because I also have
work those glutes, ass looking fat.
But have you seen those videos of the trainers when they're with their clients? Like, they be getting down, taking videos of like their asses and them.
I mean, that's what y'all like. Y'all want to feel that,
which is fine. But for me, I would not want my boyfriend to be doing that every single day. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not a job I would be okay with.
Because you feel like potential infidelity is.
Yeah, if you are working, you have a job where you're constantly having like a female's ass in your face every day, and then you see her body like slimming down, and that was looking right.
So, can he be a gynecologist? You talking?
No, that's another one. I don't even think of that one, but no. But it goes along with being a doctor. Okay. I would never date a doctor, because of those long hours they do at the hospitals. And my one of my friends, she works in the hospitals, and she tells me how like them doctors really be flirting with the nurses, with the front desk women, and they're there for hours and overnight. Like, you don't know what's going on. Right, and they be bored.
What's more entertaining than beautiful women? Right? I get to make a lot of money.
But that's also temptation.
What's wrong? What's wrong with temptation? Like, why is that a problem?
After how long can you be tempted before you just give in?
Once.
That's not that much. Exactly my point. But yeah, so trainer, doctor, and I would also say truck driver, like you said before, because they be having holes in different areas.
So, see, the trick to being a truck driver, you got to get on the dating apps, right?
They be on dating apps.
Yep.
And you change your location.
Yep, go on Hinge. You change that location real quick.
I've seen them on there.
Yep. And then, I'll be in Roosevelt, Long Island, New York.
Yeah, they'll be like, I'm here for the weekend, and I just want to hang out with you. I was on dating apps a couple months ago, but not anymore.
Shout out to the truck drivers,
Yeah, but no. I think for me, I think I don't want to say I'm picky, but I just know what I want.
What about a barber?
I don't care.
See, that's because you ain't got no kids.
Why?
It's always the single moms in the barbershop.
Okay.
Yep. With a barber, you have to have a personal relationship.
But they're there with their son, though. Like, they're there So a barber's like sitting there flirting with the single moms and
So
stuff?
you don't even
Like,
have to flirt.
I don't be in the barbershop, so I
You
don't
don't
know
have
what
to
they
flirt.
be doing.
It's a connection. The barbers, the coaches of the little league teams, like all these things, guys, you now have direct interaction with that mom. And if you doing the right things, you showing up for the community, that's an attractive man to them.
Okay, so I wouldn't say there are certain jobs I would not date. I would say for me, it always depends on the person, right? And it depends on their level of self-control and self-discipline. But there are a lot of, I want to say a lot of men. I don't want to just like group y'all together.
That's okay.
But it just like if you're constantly around women and like you have jobs where you're spending hours at, there are going to be times where you just, like you said, you slip up because of temptation, and there's always someone in your face flirting, especially a doctor. Like you have nurses that just, I feel like, be trying you. So for me, I could not. Like I just would never.
What about discomfort from like a safety perspective? Like the guys who work on like the poles and stuff, like they get electrocuted, a cop, firefighter. Is that uncomfortable for you?
No, because they're.
Long as you can die, but don't cheat.
Basically, yeah. But no, those jobs are okay. Okay, so let's change gears to something that you added to the podcast list, which is quiet quitting. Now, we started to have a conversation of what is that exactly, and I just wanted you to explain more in detail what is quiet quitting and what is entailed with that.
So from what I've read, it's basically working at a job where you've been busting your ass and not getting the proper recognition. So now you're getting to the point.
Before you start, have you seen that video of the guy who worked at Burger King for like 20-something years, and then they just gave him like a gift
Reese's
bag? Yeah, but it was like shit you get from the dollar store. And he never really missed work. And my thing is like, I wouldn't necessarily blame Burger King.
Yeah, me neither.
Because why are you here for so long? Like Burger King is more so just, I feel like, a stepping stone job or something to like help on the side. If you're dedicating your life to a fast food job that's not supposed to be permanent and then think you're supposed to get some type of recognition, then I don't feel bad for you.
I don't actually think he was looking for the recognition though. I think others were. Because he celebrated his like 27th year on the job. For starters, you don't get company recognition for 27 years. It's an odd thing.
Yeah, other jobs, they give you benefits.
Like 5, 10, 15, 30, something like
that.
But
you still get some type of benefits where you get more PTO. You probably get more, for different jobs, you get more stock options.
Yeah, which he likely did receive.
I don't think so.
But they did the whole dog and pony show for the 27 years. And the man was an older guy. I don't know if he was a ex-con. I don't know if he was a war vet. I don't know. Like
we don't know the details of that.
Or he could have just been really happy flipping burgers. Like you get happiness out of a lot of things. Like where I work at, I question sometimes like, you can do more here, but some people really like, hey, I just want to run clothes all day. It's my passion to give the customers a feature that they can shop off of. And if that's what you want to do, cool.
Right.
But for me, I need more, right? So if I'm that person that's not getting the recognition that I want, now all of a sudden I'm dialing it down. Like I work at a job.
But I don't do a job for recognition. I do it more so to get either a higher role in the company or more money or something.
How do you do that?
You do have to get recognition, I guess, from your company and a lot of people knowing like who you are. But I don't want to change topics. Like let's go back to quiet quitting and what that means. So from what you were telling me in the beginning, like if you work at a job for let's say 10 plus years and you're going above and beyond, but you just realize you're not maybe getting that recognition or you're not getting the promotions and stuff like that you would potentially want. You just slowly, I guess, like think of other options and
you're thinking
like,
other options. You're applying elsewhere. You're just going through the motions essentially at work, and you are operating with a smile on your face while you're miserable. And
with the intention, though,
with
of
the intention
finding
of
another
quitting.
job.
Like, I don't want to be here. But not doing it without having another job in the background. So I think a lot of us do that. I think a lot of people truly be at jobs where they feel like it's a dead end, but I got bills to pay. So,
yeah, but I think it's smart, though, to make sure that you do have a security with finding another job, because it never made sense to quit a job that you hate if you're not putting in that time to find something else or increasing your education or get certification so that you can get a better job.
And that's what a lot of these people do in these situations. It's like, let me build me in this regard so I can make sure that when I'm ready to go, I'm going. I don't have to look back and regret it. So, and I think a lot of people get to that space where it's like, fuck, did I really need to quit that job for this job? And it's like, go from dead end to dead end.
And nowadays, I realize that a lot of millennials aren't really staying at jobs for too long. Like, when we are working somewhere where we're truly not happy, we find something else. And like, if it's a couple months and shit just isn't what they said it would be, like, we don't have a problem just being like, okay, well, like, I'm out of here. And I think it's a different generation, because prior to that, our grandparents and parents, like, they be at jobs for like 30 and 40 years being unhappy and maybe thinking of like, okay, I hate coming here, but let me just, like, how would things be if I did find another job? But they never want to take that leap of faith and start something new because they're so comfortable. Like, with us, I think comfortability is not the number one reason to stay at a job. It's more so our happiness.
But I look at jobs like I look at relationships, like, especially in today's day and age. See, back in the day, you only had the classified ads. I don't know if you know what that is. You know what that is?
What?
The classifieds. Okay.
The show? Next Declassifieds?
No. So back in the day, they used to have this thing in the newspaper called the classifieds.
Oh, not the newspaper.
The newspaper.
Oh, yes. I know what that is.
Okay, just
because it just clicked when, because my parents moved around a lot when I was younger, and apartments would be in the classifieds, right?
Yes,
of the
and
newspaper.
Jobs and all that good shit, right?
Yeah.
So that was really the only place where you can find jobs. So you got to go door to door and ask for application. Nowadays,
that's terrible.
Nowadays, I can literally go on 1,000 different job search boards, Indeed, Glassdoor.
Do you be looking at other jobs
Absolutely.
at work, just scrolling on your phone? It's so easy.
So I don't look at jobs anymore, but what I do is I always update my resume. I always make sure that,
yes, always be ready.
Because as a recruiter, the first thing I'm going to look for is who's new to the recruiting market. I don't want somebody that's been looking for a job for 5 years. That means that they're not appealing. So I'm going to look for the person that's fresh. So every time you're on Career Builder or Monster, re-up that shit, delete an account, start a new one.
But you know what doesn't make sense? Because I'm trying to help my aunt find a job, because she just recently moved to Arizona from New York, but she used to be in tech longer than me. Like, she was in tech for like 20, 30 years, but now she's back on the job market and she's trying to find something. She wanted to kind of just stay in the same bubble as far as like help desk. And I told her, like, hey, you have so many skills that like you can be a cloud engineer, systems admin too, like even maybe a manager. So the thing with finding a job now, I feel like people don't necessarily realize is, yes, your experience is vital, but it's the key words that you put in your resume. Because with Indeed, it'll tell you like if you're missing qualifications on the side before you apply for a job, even if you know you have that experience. But whatever keywords are in that job description, make sure they're on your resume, because resumes go through a system first, like a filter, prior to getting to the recruiter. So if you know you're capable of this job, but you're kind of like, well, damn, why did they call me back, or why didn't I get picked? You didn't have those keywords that the system was looking for before it got to the recruiter.
The resume and the application, because a lot of people go, why do I have to do a resume and an application if I'm just repeating the same information? Because if your resume actually does pass the vetting process, now we need to see if the application passed the vetting process. If I ask you these specific questions, if you say no or if you say yes, that makes a huge fucking difference. And then on top of that, they'll probably do like a pre-screening, like
a phone call.
Not even that, though. You know those things where it's like least likely or most likely.
The situational questions.
So
I hate those.
My suggestion for anybody who ever does it is always veer to the extreme, because they don't want anybody that's on the fence. Make a decision. Either you're extremely likely to do this, or you're extremely
They don't want someone who's like
that.
neutral, like or this doesn't
because
apply
that
to
makes
me.
that makes you unappealing. Now I learned all of this because I was recruiting.
That's a good tip, because I didn't know that.
Yeah, always lean towards the extremes. But it's like so many options out there. Just like if I'm on a dating app, right? I have so many options for women. I have so many options for jobs. And if I'm going to be dissatisfied and I have this appealing apple in my eye, I'm going to take a bite. That's how I got into the job that I'm at now, because I wasn't necessarily unsatisfied where I was at. But you trying to tell me this is closer to home and you're going to pay me $20,000 more dollars?
My appeal for a job is remote. Because I work in tech, it's like I truly have no reason to come into the office. So being that my current job, I'm at the office Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, doing things where I'm connecting to people's computers and working on projects and doing meetings from my desk that I truly don't really leave my desk. I'm like, y'all just have some type of control where you just want to see me every day and make sure I'm working. And this just is just not working for me. So
I know a lot of companies tried to shake that remote stuff because people were asking for more money. Because it's like, oh, I'm sitting at home.
Because you're spending money on your Wi-Fi, your electricity, like your home expenses do go up because you're working remote. It does, because you're constantly now on your computer.
It doesn't. If you were in the office, internet more expensive.
It doesn't, but your electricity things go up.
I don't know.
It does.
I personally
noticed.
I personally side with the corporations on a lot of things, in all honesty, because I recognize. Hey, I'll try to be fair. I recognize,
I get it.
Especially being in management, where I have to be under those P&L statements, and I have to see how am I going to shake supplies so that I'm not spending too much. What am I going to do to navigate payroll? What am I going to do to make overtime not a thing, so that way I don't exceed my expenses with these little things that I can avoid?
Well, I guess to add to that, my last job, the location I used to work at in PA ended up closing because once COVID hit, then we were remote every single day. And then they were just paying rent for this space that it was maybe like 2 or 3 people in. So they were able to close that space and close a bunch of different locations. And then they was generating like a lot more money.
You close up space and you shut down all those computers. You don't have to pay for that.
That can go to the salary of your employees.
Now you know these corporations.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if you truly valued your employees and keeping them, because like we were saying before, a lot of millennials, especially if you're looking for younger talent, they want more money, they want to be comfortable, they want to be happy, and they want to do it from the space of their own comfort. So
yeah, but how does that benefit the corporations?
In my sense, I work better when I am home.
So
like I have my
you
candles
and
lit.
Find somebody that's going to work better from the way I want them
because
to work?
It's better quality. Like I have more experience. And like for me, like I'm more productive when I'm home, because when I'm in the office, it's just like constant just work drama. Not necessarily I'm trying to be in it, but that's just what, like some people, they see these jobs as like their lives. Like they can't wait to go to work and talk to everybody and tell them their business. I'm not like that. Like I'm here because I have to be. And yes, I'm doing my job, but I got a lot of other shit to do outside of here, including the podcast. So I'm not trying to be here because most of my work anyway, it doesn't take 8 hours. Like it can be done in 4 hours because I'm a very quick worker as well. So when I'm home, I'm able to do my personal stuff and my work stuff and have that balance. When I'm in the office, like that doesn't happen.
So if I'm a corporation and I recognize that, why do I want people to work remote? If I recognize you are going to spend 4 hours doing your work and the next 4 hours doing XYZ.
That doesn't affect you in any way though. Because I'm getting my work done.
If you're going to be in my office and you're going to be working for an entire 8 hours and you just showed me that you can do the same job in 4, what are you going to do for the other 4 hours that I'm paying you?
They don't know that if I'm working from home. Like, they don't see my productivity. But being that I'm in the office, I'm not going to pull out my personal laptop and start working because that's obvious. Nah, like, because I know that's not okay. But I just feel like it's a waste of time I could be utilizing to do my own stuff. And now my personal stuff is lacking because now I'm in this office every day. And my job, they have like a gym, they have an outside area that you can kind of just spend time at. But I'm like, I don't want to be here doing these things when I can be utilizing this time to my personal projects. That's just how I feel. Yeah,
well, again, I don't mean to be on the side of the white man.
It makes sense. No, I get it. I get both sides.
It's all about cutting costs and maximizing their dollars in their pockets, right?
Yeah, that's always the ultimate goal.
So, like, I look at somewhere like Target as a retailer.
Target. I need to go to Target after this.
As a retailer, it's so much that they can improve just by paying a little bit more to their employees, right? You walk into a Target, you don't see no cash registers open. You only see people going to self-checkout because that's kind of what they want you to do. But at the same time, it's like we make enough of a surplus where I can pay 16 to 22-year-olds 4 to 5 hours just to maximize those cash registers. But they don't, because they recognize, like, the people are going to still come here anyway. They'll just complain.
That makes sense from a retail industry aspect, but for the side of the corporate that I work in, like the technology space, it is not really productive for me to be in this office doing all of this when I'm not happy, knowing that if I did have that better work-life balance to do my personal stuff as well and get my job done, then I would feel happier at that company. So with that being said,
would you be upset if they say, okay, you can get this job done in 4 to 5 hours? So
they don't know that, though. That's the thing. Like, the higher ups, they don't know the day-to-day stuff that you're doing. They just want to make sure the work is getting done.
Okay.
So I think it goes back to more so them watching you and being in control, because it's like, okay, I see your face here every day. Like, it may look like I'm working, because how many times people, like, they end up just like, they make it look like they're actually being productive because they see the boss come in, when truly, are they actually working when you're not there? I more so am when I'm home, because I know, like, this is my bread and butter to actually, work my job. Like, I have to. So it just, to me, it's just better if I had a better work-life balance and, like, work from home to do both of those things. That's just in my situation. So with that being said, guys, we are going to wrap up the episode.
It's time already? I was having so much fun.
Where's you?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is episode 6. We're getting closer and closer to episode 10 when we drop
Cinco wait, no, it's not Cinco. That was last week.
I don't know numbers in Spanish.
Diez de worque. No, that's not how that goes.
You don't even know Spanish, so stop.
I took 3 years of Spanish and 3 years of sign language, so I know my shit.
I took French because I was like, everyone taking Spanish, and I want to be different.
First off, I know R. Kelly's canceled, but I have a viral video on YouTube with me doing sign language. You gotta check it out.
To R. Kelly?
I believe I can fly.
All right, I'm gonna link it in the description of this episode.
It's really good.
Okay. If you want to see Aaron doing sign language to R. Kelly, then look at the
26,000 views and counting. I mean, it is 10 years old, so that's like, what, 2.6 million thousand? I don't know my math.
Too much Don Julio.
Is that what we drinking today?
I'm drinking coffee.
With what?
With sugar.
I didn't know liquor came in sugar.
We're gonna wrap up this episode here, guys. You can catch us on our Instagram page, We Outside After Work, and you can reach out to us, WAOW pod at gmail.com. I know.
We outside.
And I was saying it too fast. So yeah, you can reach out to us there, and thank you for watching and tuning in, and we will catch you on next week's episode.
We outside after work.
And we out.